Apple, once a fruit, now a household name for overpriced yet well-received technology in today's day and age, is an American multinational technology company that designs, develops, and sells consumer electronics, computer software, and online services. Now, let us take a look at Apple's culture. Firstly, we have top-notch excellency. What does it mean? It means that their organizational culture involves a policy of selecting only the best of the best workers. Steve Jobs was known to readily fire employees who did not meet his expectations. This tradition in Apple's organizational culture continues under Tim Cook. Excellence is emphasized as a critical success factor in the business, especially in product and design development. Secondly, we have creativity. Apple's employees are selected for their knowledge, skills, and creative abilities. The firm's organizational culture highlights the importance of creativity. Employees involved in product design and development processes are especially creative. These characteristics of Apple's organizational culture help the firm maintain the capacity to develop solutions to business needs and consumer needs. Thirdly, innovation. Apple's organizational culture is also highly innovative. In fact, Apple is frequently appraised as one of the most innovative companies in the world. All employees are trained and encouraged to innovate in terms of individual work performance and by contributing ideas to the firm's product development processes. Apple's organizational culture succeeds in facilitating rapid innovation, which is at the heart of the business. Fourthly, secrecy. Steve Jobs developed Apple to have an organizational culture of secrecy. This secrecy is part of the company's strategy to minimize theft of priority information or intellectual property. Upon hiring, Apple employees agree to this organizational culture of secrecy, which is reflected in the firm's policies, rules, and employment practices. This aspect of Apple's organizational culture helps protect the business from corporate espionage and the negative effects of employee poaching. Lastly, moderate combativeness. Apple's organizational culture has moderate combativeness. This feature is linked to Steve Jobs and his combative approach to leadership. He was known to randomly challenge employees to ensure that they have what it takes to work at Apple. However, under Tim Cook's leadership, the company has been changing its organizational culture to a more sociable and less combative one. Thus, Apple's organizational culture now has a moderate degree of combativeness.
Next, we'll be talking about Apple's values and its real-life evidences. So Apple has publicly stated 7 of its core values, and these are as follows. They believe that they are on the face of the earth to make great products. They believe in the simple, not the complex. They believe they need to own and control the primary technologies behind the products they make. They also believe to participate only in markets where they can make significant contributions. They believe in saying no to thousands of projects so that they can really focus on those that are truly important to them. They believe in deep collaboration and cross-pollination of their groups, which allows them to innovate in ways that others cannot. They lastly also believe that they do not want to settle anything less than excellence in every group in the company, and they will have the self-honesty to admit when they are wrong and make the courage to change. However, as an outsider to the organizations, we will not know if these values are espoused or enacted, so for the purpose of this video, we'll be highlighting the values that are evident to the public eye. So firstly, great is subjective, but they have been proven so far as the number 4 of the Fortune 500 charts. Secondly, we believe in simple, not the complex. So simple can be seen in any design of the product. Their stores are bright, white, and clean. And Steve Jobs' PowerPoint presentations are simple yet very powerful. Thirdly, they believe they need to own and control the primary technologies behind the products they make. And this is very evident in the things that they create, such as Apple Music, iTunes, and iBooks, all very selfish in the eyes of public. Next, we'll be talking about the organizational structure of Apple itself. So Apple's organizational structure enables the firm to continue innovating rapidly. The creation of new products like Apple Watch is linked to the support from firm's organizational structure. The following are the most significant characteristics of Apple's organizational structure. Firstly, the spoke and wheel hierarchy. Secondly, the function-based grouping. Thirdly, the product-based grouping. So for spoke and view hierarchy, a bird's eye view of Apple's organizational structures shows considerable hierarchy. In the past, everything went through Steve Jobs' office, so Jobs made all the major decisions. However, under Tim Cook's leadership, the hierarchy in Apple's organizational structure has slightly changed. There is now more collaboration among different parts of the company, such as software teams and hardware teams. Apple's vice president has more autonomy, which was almost absent under Jobs. Thus, the company's organizational structure is now less stiff, but still has a spoke and view hierarchy where Tim Cook is at the center. Secondly, for function-based grouping, the upper tier of Apple's organizational structure has function-based grouping, which is an element derived from the functional type of organizational structure. Each senior vice president who reports to Tim Cook handles a business function. For example, Apple has an SVP for industrial design, one for marketing, and another for retail. In this aspect of the organizational structure, Apple's top leaders address business needs in terms of the function areas. Lastly, they have product-based grouping. The lower tier of Apple's organizational structure has product-based grouping, which is an element derived from the divisional type of organizational structure. Below the senior vice president, there are many vice presidents for different outputs of products. For example, Apple has a VP for iOS apps, one for iPad, another for consumer apps. This aspect of organizational structure enables Apple to address specific products or product components. Next, we'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of Apple's structure.
So let us start by talking about the advantages of Apple's organization structure. Firstly, they have a strong control. So what does that mean? The hierarchy in Apple's organizational structure supports strong control over the organization. Theoretically, hierarchy empowers top leaders like Tim Cook to control everything that goes into the organization. Through the hierarchy, the function-based grouping and product-based grouping in this organizational structure, Apple ensures that Cook and their senior VPs control all organizational processes. Even a big organization like Apple, they do have their setbacks. So, firstly, it will be limited flexibility. Apple's organizational structure has the downside of low flexibility. Hierarchy typically prevents lower levels of the structure to flexibly respond to business needs and market demands. However, Tim Cook has already made slight improvements by improving collaboration among different parts of the firm. Still, Apple's organizational structure does not support rapid changes because everything must go through Tim Cook and their senior VPs. Next, strong culture. So moving on, we'll be discussing whether the organization has a strong or weak culture and how that has played a key role in the organization's success. As you can see from the slide, yes, it has a strong culture, but why? Under Jobs' leadership, everything went through him. However, under Tim Cook's leadership, although he had made attempts to change the culture within Apple by providing more autonomy to its lower-level employees, the spoke and wheel hierarchy previously mentioned still displays the strong culture of having a centric point of power within Apple. Now let's look at the reasons how Apple succeeded so far. With its current organizational culture and task structure, Apple is able to stand out and stay ahead of its customers. By placing importance on top-notch excellence, creativity, and innovation in the technology industry, they are able to enable success and competitive advantage. Additionally, in this day and age, the rate that technology is being innovated is very fast, and their strong company culture which promotes creativity and excellence is certainly helping them climb the ladder of success. However, Apple's organizational culture also brings along some challenges because of the emphasis on secrecy and the moderate degree of competitiveness. An atmosphere of secrecy limits rapport among workers. Also, the moderate competitiveness that still exists in the firm today has a disadvantage of limiting the morale of some employees. These issues indicate that Apple's organizational culture has room for major improvements to strengthen the firm's human resource capabilities. Thank you for taking your time in listening to our project. Bye.